An American Werewolf in London was released in 1981, and boy, that was a werewolf movie. Shame I can't say the same about its dreadful and unnecessary sequel. The film opens with a trio of daredevil Americans: Andy, played by Tom Everett Scott, Brad, Vince Valouf, and Chris, Phil Buckman, sneaking up to the top of the Eiffel Tower at night to drink wine and do a little bungee jumping. Soon they have the company in the person of Seraphine, Julie Delpy, who has decided to end it all. She jumps, but Andy, with a semi-detached bungee cord, goes after her, with his two friends managing to hold his cord in time. Thank God they didn't get friction burns. Andy manages to save her, but ends up in hospital with a headache, which is putting it mildly. Seraphine disappears. Once out of hospital, a smitten Andy seeks her out. However, once he learns his would-be girlfriend's dark secret, he wishes he hadn't. She's a werewolf, and daughter of David Kessler and Alex Price from the original. Like her father, Seraphine is cursed to change into a hideous beast when the moon is full. To make matters worse, Andy suffers a nasty bite after being attacked by a werewolf himself. Julie Delpy is far too good for this movie. She imbues Seraphine with spirit, spunk and humanity, which is a double-edged sword because it gives us an emotional stake in Seraphine's fate, but also prevents us from relaxing and enjoying Paris as a completely mindless, campy, entertaining experience. Delpy's contribution of class acting in an otherwise senseless production raises the question of what this film could have been, with a better script and a better cast surrounding her. It could be argued that Delpy is the only reason to see An American Werewolf in Paris, of which I would agree. I'm sure our oldest and most devoted fans have probably seen this nonsense, but if you're a new fan though, you should consider giving this one a miss. Watch Delpy in Before Sunrise and Killing Zoe instead, as both of those films have intelligible plots, which Paris seriously lacks. The rest of the cast acting is easily at a considerable lower level compared to Delpy. Basically they do what the screenplay asks of them, which isn't saying much. Tom Everett Scott plays the lead with too much the stand-up comedian approach, but without the intelligence, and it's evident early into the film because it becomes irritating very quickly. It would be fair and kind to call him bland in this film. Actors Vince Valouf and Phil Buckman as Andy's friends are no more impressive. Julie Bowen plays the typical blonde bimbo and is suitably fetching as werewolf meat. The French police are portrayed as stereotypes in this film, and are so blatant it almost borders on cringeworthy. The best stereotypes I've seen of the French police is in the superb Broken Sword game series, which have bare plots and are not meant to be taken seriously at all. The same cannot be said for them in this film, sadly. The use of the city of Paris is used sparingly, I think, but besides the Eiffel Tower they never used any other famous landmarks to give the impression that it was filmed entirely in the French capital. So it could have been set anywhere, considering it was also filmed in Luxembourg and Amsterdam. The werewolf lore in this film had me grinning, saying that's crap and convenient. The idea of how to stop and sever the wolf's bloodline and lift the curse in An American Werewolf in London was by suicide. Fair enough, once you're bit, you're doomed. Here is totally different and ludicrous. You have to eat the heart of the wolf that bit you. To me it's just a gimmick in the narrative so the film may not end on a sombre note, regardless of the fact that Seraphine is of course still a werewolf at the end. But that doesn't matter, we're expected to accept or forget about that. When it comes to the special effects, the filmmakers have gone down the CGI route, and it doesn't pay off at all. The computer-generated werewolves look painfully unrealistic. With An American Werewolf in London, the creatures' movements were of course all practical and done a lot more effectively. The creatures in An American Werewolf in Paris would have probably been more believable had they used animatronics and or people inside suits. Repeated use is made of the werewolf cam, an infrared werewolf's point of view, which I admit is interesting the first couple of times, but then becomes a bit tedious. The soundtrack includes some alternative grunge rock tunes like the poppier version of Mouth by British band Bush, which I liked but not as much as their album version. Sadly though, all the songs in the film clash violently with the on-screen action they have been matched with. John Landis brilliantly used songs in An American Werewolf in London to show the change of pace throughout the film. For example, when David is bored and trying to pass the time in Alex's flat, Landis used the band Creedence Clearwater Revival's Bad Moon Rising due to the impending danger, which is pure genius. An American Werewolf in Paris fails on every level when it attempts to recapture the humour and horror of John Landis's 1981 classic. Where the original has subtle comedy which was interwoven perfectly, Paris has a kind of TV sitcom feel to its humour. Director and co-writer Anthony Waller stumbles on the material for this film, and it shows that he's never able to make the comedy and the horror elements gel. As a result, we get the worst werewolf sequel since Howling 2 Sturber Werewolf Bitch. It doesn't work and comes across as being unintentionally funny, and an inferior retread of the first film, where London has effective chills spread throughout and always has a feeling of unease from start to finish. Paris has none of those. What is supposed to be tense and unnerving is just devoid of those things. As I mentioned, London became a classic in its genre, and the woeful American Werewolf in Paris is far below that status level. The script is dreadful, most of the acting laughable, but for the wrong reasons. The special effects and CGI look bad and unfinished. An American Werewolf in Paris is marginally entertaining in a bad film sort of way. Is that a fair distinction? Not sure, to be honest. While it isn't unbearable to sit through, it borders on it. Ultimately, An American Werewolf in Paris is an unfortunate and wasted effort, and if it was done right, it could have been worthy of its predecessor. Well guys, tell me what you think of An American Werewolf in Paris. Was it good? Was it bad? Are you somewhere in the middle? Do tell me in the comments below. And if you're new to my channel, you can click subscribe and the notification bell, so you can keep up to date with my new videos. Thanks very much guys, and I'll catch you next time.